this voice, you should be woke. You should be woke and you should be ready to engage in some good thought provoking questions and conversations for 30 minutes of your morning while you're probably getting dressed for work, while you're driving to work. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, and today is what? Tuesday. So welcome to Thoughtful Tuesday. You know, we got these thoughts going, and I didn't just deemed each day a day. So today is Tuesday. Tuesday thoughts. What is Tuesday thoughts today? What got you going on Tuesday? Look, it's a lot of stuff going on. One of the things that I looked at that was going on. Fix my little microphone here so folks can hear me. Um that I looked at was they had a conversation going on Facebook about um I believe it was it Chloe Bailey and her baby daddy, I guess. Both of them broke up, or he put a big thing up to say that they broke up. And so then they have this thing going on about people who decide to have children and then decide that, guess what? We gonna have kids, and now we just ain't. We gonna have these kids together, and now we're gonna break up. Here's the thing. Yes, we all have this notion of, well, why you didn't think about that before you had the children? And then you have people who have opinions about, well, they wasn't really thinking about it. They was thinking about what they was thinking about, right? And doing all those things, and they really wasn't thinking about the repercussions. But I think people do think about the repercussions, right? You don't just go fly out by night and just start doing some stuff and don't think about what are the lasting effects of an intimate relationship with a person. What could happen in an intimate relationship with a person? Because it's more than just pregnancy, right? We have diseases, all kinds of stuff, and you get some depending on what's going on, you can get emotionally attached to a person that you're intimate with. So they call it soul tied and all this other kind of stuff. You got, people go in depth with all of that, and to a certain extent, some of it is correct. Some of it is correct. However, my thing is, if a person decides to want to move on, or if they decide that they want to go on, then let them go. Good morning. Good morning. Wow, what is the topic? Well, what we talking about is it okay? Is it okay for you to engage? The problem is, put it this way, I really don't have a set word on it, but everybody's talking about Chloe and DDG, and they're talking about how they had this child, and now that they're broken up. So now everybody is saying, why is everybody having children and breaking up? And so what I'm saying is, because someone is intimate with someone and has a child with them, doesn't necessarily mean the relationship is where they need it to be. And just because what they portray in front of everybody else and everybody else feel like it's good, doesn't necessarily mean that it was good. It doesn't, just because it's almost the notion of the old age saying of uh you're on the outside looking in. Good morning. And so on the outside looking in, can you really determine what's going on? You really can't. When you walk past a house and you look at the outside of a house, the outside might look wonderful, but on the inside it might not. So you don't really can't determine what's on the inside. You can't determine if they got furniture. You can't determine whether the furniture is in good condition. You can't tell whether they have even appliances in the kitchen from looking on the outside. So I think that people who are already inside knows what's going on, but on the outside looking in, you can't tell. And my thing is, I don't if a relationship is not working out, it ain't working out. That's my opinion. If we didn't made a child and unfortunately we gotta go, we gotta go. I actually think that all relationships change once a child is produced. And I don't think it's a bad relationship. I think the relationship just alters. You know what? I think it does alter when a child is born. But I think that comes too with certain people's fears and insecurities. I read something um a couple of days ago, and it said everything you want is on the other side of fear. And I feel like a lot of times we don't get what we want because we're on that other side. We're the fear is holding us back. And when it comes to relationships, even for me, I was young. So I had my children young. I was married young. We had to grow up. And I think us being friends in the later life before he even passed away was a good relationship for us versus what we had before. We were young. And so when you're young, you're petty, you unaware, you don't know. And that was 4 children. That was 4. So when you grow up, you do better. As they say, when you know better, you do better. And so I feel like it does alter, and I feel like if it's not working at the time that it needs to work, then you go away. Now some people make their way back, some don't. But I think that if it's not working, then you have to move around if it's not working. I don't think you should stay. I don't think you should stay. But I don't think, again, people who are on the outside looking in don't know the dynamics of what that relationship looks like. And it goes back to what we talked about a couple weeks ago, two sides to every story. And when people say that, I still have a problem with balancing two sides to every story because again it's someone's perception, and that's fine, but when you have your own perception and another person have their own perception, the story is going to always look different. It just depends on what side you're telling it from. You know how they say it's this story, that story, and then in the middle there's the truth. But I just think that it's people's own perception. So when it comes to relationships, you can stand on the outside and look in, but just because you're out there and you see them come out holding hands together don't mean they was holding hands in the inside. You know, you don't know. And I don't think it's anything wrong with that, but I totally agree with Sister Pooh. I actually think that all relationships change once a child is produced, and I don't think it's a bad relationship. I think the relationship just alters. And it does alter. It alters and it's okay, but sometimes it alters and it's not okay. And I totally agree, and that's where I'm at. So when children are produced, some relationships do alter. And I'm like, well, if it didn't work out, then it just didn't work out. Because what do they want people to do? They want people to stay inside relationships that are not good just for the child, because the child doesn't need to see the bad. I mean, am I wrong for thinking that? Because I'm like, well, if we are not getting along, we're not talking, we're not if we're not being good co-parents within the home, then we do have to break up. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Facebook. So that's what we're talking about. Okay, so Sister Nisi says she agree that if the because I don't think the children should be engaged in that type of behavior either. We're not getting along, then we're going to break up. So we're talking about other people's business today. And the thing is that when you're right, Sister Janine says she's agreed. So when you're standing on the outside looking in, a lot of times people say, oh, that relationship looks great. So this comes from on the heels of DDG and I think is it Chloe or Hallie? I don't know which one it is. Their boyfriend broke up, and now everybody's like, well, what about the child? Like, how they have a baby? Well, people know how babies come here, whether you getting artificially inseminated or originally just doing it and getting a baby. Everybody knows how children get here. But because I'm performing that act does not mean that I'm not aware of what can happen. I know that I can get pregnant or, produce a child. I mean, whether you're a man or a woman, you know what can happen when that act happens. But I don't think that's in the forefront of people's mind. Come on now, people. People ain't thinking about that when they doing that. Ain't nobody thinking about, oh, we're gonna have a baby. You thinking about doing what you're doing to feel good and do what you do. And if a baby is produced in that, okay. But if the relationship is not working out, then the relationship is just not working out. That's how that goes. If the relationship is not going to work out, then the relationship is just not going to work out. But I don't feel like um it's wrong. If they break up, they break up. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. Exactly how I feel about it. And I think everybody pretty much agrees with me when we say, if you're on the outside looking in, doesn't necessarily mean you're getting the whole story anyways, because you can't tell what's going on in that house. So if you're on the outside looking in, you can't say what's going on in that house. And I read something the other day that said this: everything you want is on the other side of fear. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. A lot of times we are fearful of things that we want. We are fearful of things that we desire, and a lot of times fear is keeping us from getting to those getting to those things. Fear of, again, what people will say, fear of what might happen, fear of the unknown. All of those things are keeping us from getting to the other side of what we really want. Even married couples break up when children arrive. Children bring another level of responsibility to the relationship. Yeah. So Sister Nisi says, even married couples break up when children arrive. Children bring another level of responsibility to the relationship. And that coincides with what Sister Pooh said, which is, I actually think that all relationship change once a child is produced. And I don't think it's a bad relationship. I think the relationship just alters. It just changes. Sister Pooh also said, I have a conversation about children growing up in two separate homes and growing up in a two-parent home. And I know for sure some two-parent homes are way more toxic. Yes, some two-parent homes are way more toxic than a one-parent home, because a lot of times, depending on, and I'm gonna say this, depending on what parent you with, eh, some parents are over it. Let me put it that way. Some just say, let's move on. We're going to move on, and that's that. Some parents move on, but they're not over it. So they continue to infuse the toxicity. They continue to infuse the trauma. And it's like, why? Why do you have to continue to keep doing that? You don't have to keep doing that. If you've moved on, you've moved on. But I do agree with that, because it depends on the two parents. Now, sometimes you can have two parents who come from uh I would just say a variety background. And so a lot of times when you have that, you have two parents who's bringing two backgrounds together. Probably both were traumatized, or some things went on that they never got out, and then they get together trying to make something work, and then that explodes into something else. So I agree how she said even married couples break up when children arrive, because it brings a different level of responsibility. And again, some people, whether it's the male or the female, can't deal with that responsibility. When you bring a child into a marriage and you have a child, some people, whether it's a man or a woman, I don't care which one it is, sometimes they have insecurity levels. So it doesn't matter that you have a whole child that you're bringing into. Sometimes they can't even deal that you got a child. They'll get mad at the child because you're giving more attention to the child. And I've heard of people having this happen before, where the other parent actually is upset because you're giving more attention to the child and not to them. And so some people can't deal with that. And then some people can't deal with the attention that both of you need. Having a child is a lot. And a woman that births a child needs that needs that comfort, reassurance, needs that help. And when you have to dive in and do all of that, that can be a lot. And some people ain't here for it. They like, I ain't signed up for this ain't what I signed up for, and I ain't gonna be doing it. And sometimes it's the woman. Trust me, uh, this not a these are not for real. These are not made up stories. These are facts, where women become so overwhelmed that they back out. Like, the man can have a child, forget it. I ain't even to deal with all that, because sometimes it's just that overwhelming. So that is so true, that another level of responsibility to the relationship. Folks ain't looking for that. Some people ain't. I ain't saying everybody. I'm just saying some people aren't. And it can be very overwhelming. It can be very difficult when you're thinking about those relationships and then you're adding children in. And then as the children get older, you have those dynamics too, because children, they're thinking one way when they're young, but as they get older, they have a different way of thinking. They have a different way of viewing things and everything like that. So when you have that going on, that can be different as well. So when you have that going on, that can be different. You know what I'm saying? So now you have to deal with that. That's the altar of the relationship. Yeah. Yep, that's the altar of it. The responsibility, the altar of it, because who's going to take on that? And then you have to be right in order to take it on, if I'm making sense, because some people are just not ready for it. It's like I did, like I said, I signed up for that. Why am I doing this? This is not what I signed up for. Some people are not ready to give up their freedom. You know, you can almost say it. Some people become a little bit selfish. I mean, I that's the word I that keeps coming to my mind. Selfish, me, not you, and not the baby. So you have to think about that. I think he did an interview, and he even said in the interview, I don't know if this was a current interview, like a new interview, or if this was something in the past somebody asked him about. But in the interview, one of the bites, the video bites said, he said being in a relationship is like a full-time job. And I'm like, did he not know that before he entered a relationship? Who doesn't know being in a relationship is like a job? It's not like a job, but it is like a job. And I hate to say it like that, but you got to be available. You got to be available. You cannot not be available in a relationship. Like, who didn't know that? So he has these thoughts too, but then they're young as well. They're young as well. So these are things that they're going to have to learn and grow from. They're going to have to learn and grow from. They might run it back, might bring it back around. Who knows? But in the interim of things, these are the things that he's saying. And so what I'm saying today is, on this Thoughtful Tuesday, that when entering a relationship, you should know key facts about altering, responsibility. For me, I suffer postpartum depression and did not know I was suffering. My partner at the time did not know how to help me balance parenting and myself. Yes, and that's a thing too. And that can be difficult. And also being young and going through that, because you already have a lot of things when you're young. When you're young, and I was a teen mom as well. Um, it was a lot, but I knew I had to walk away. Yes. And you got all this other stuff going on. You got so much going on. And again, when people are not aware, when they have not been probably talked to or haven't involved themselves in learning, you have to learn about these things. When you haven't took part in any of that and you don't know, you only know what as much as you know to do. That's it. That's why they say, when it comes to parenting, nobody's perfect when it comes to parenting. Nobody. You don't find a parent that's 100% perfect, because you know what you know probably from your mom or your dad, sure. But when it comes to your own child, and after you have a child, you try to parent by what you know. You try to think about the words you use. You try to think about the actions you take. You try. And that's all you can do, is try. But that's all you can do. Nobody's perfect. And I think that's where a lot of relationships break down at, especially when it comes to parent and children, because a lot of these children these days think parents are supposed to be perfect, and you're not supposed to say this, you're not supposed to do this, and I'll never talk to you again, and you're just wrong, you're this, you're that. And I'm just like, show me a perfect parent. If you take a stance like that, all I say is, show me a perfect parent. Show me a perfect parent. You show me a perfect parent, and I'll retract everything I say about parenting. But can't nobody show me no perfect parent. Can't nobody show me a perfect parent. And here's the thing too about parenting. People have to be allowed to parent. Some of these children these days, baby, look here, they'll tell you don't ever talk to them no more and go on about their business. They don't even allow you to say sorry. They won't allow you to see the change in you. They won't allow none of that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, again, I say that when you are in a relationship, married, long term, these are things that should be brought up, talked about, and really express your feelings and come away from the fear on the other side of things that, oh, if I tell them I really feel like this, then they'll walk away. I mean, they have that right. They have that right if they want to walk away. But these feelings and these things should be put out in the opening in the beginning. You know, when you're having a serious um conversation. Me and my husband have this thing we do. We say keep it 100, and we do it often, in between the year. Let's keep it 100. Let's sit down and have a conversation. And then we do it yearly around our anniversary time, where we literally sit down and say, okay, last year this is where we were. Let's see where we've grown in these areas. And we go from there. And we go. You know what I'm saying? And so we hold each other accountable in those areas that we said we're going to grow in as well. Hey, I said I'm working on that. Don't keep beat me across the head with it. Hey, I say I'm trying to get that. Don't keep bringing that up. You know what I'm saying? So those are things that you have to discuss, and you have to, as we say, keep it 100. This is a no judgment zone. That's a no judgment zone time. We ain't judging. We keeping it really transparent, and we're keeping it open. Here's what I need. Here's what I need from you. Here's where I am, and here's where I think I need to go. And then you both discuss that, and you say to yourself, okay, we're going to walk away, holding hands, saying this is where we need to go and this is what we need to work out. And those conversations need to be had. But again, you need to have those conversations probably before you have children. Probably before you have children. But again, they're young. I've been there before. You go through things thinking and you don't, and so you learn. That's what it is. It's lessons learned. My one shirt in that quote says, I never lose. I either learn or I win. So that's what I would give to people that are going through some type of relationship difficulties. If you have children and you're wondering, what should I do? You never lose. You either learn or you win. Those are the two options that you have. But I do stress that you should be having conversations. Intimate parts going to take place because people have feelings and emotions and desires and wants and needs. But if you're going to be in a long-term relationship and you see it going somewhere, conversations need to be had. And communication is always the key in the door to either growing or just saying this ain't going to work out. You got to communicate. You got to communicate. Good morning, Auntie. Good morning. You got to communicate. All right. So on this Thoughtful Tuesday about relationships, you know, everything you want is on the other side of fear. So stop being fearful. Talk it out. Talk it out. Talk it out. All right. All right. Hey, this is what I want to tell y'all. Y'all know what my affirmation is today? My affirmation today is there will be haters, doubters, non believers, and there will be you proving them wrong. There will be haters, doubters, non believers, and then there will be you proving them wrong. I want you guys to have a great, thoughtful Tuesday. Great, thoughtful Tuesday. Great, thoughtful Tuesday. And remember to live, learn. What? Oh, good morning. I want you to live, love, never, ever stop laughing, always find rooms to forgive. And remember, there's one love. And don't be falling for people's schemes out here, especially the devil, because he got a whole lot of them. Pray, pray to God and tell him to keep them schemes away from you. Okay. All right. You guys have a great day. Tomorrow is Wednesday. And remember, Thursday is coming. You thought it, I said it. All right. Thank you guys for your support. You guys have a great day. Good morning, Kenny.